Welcome. Hello, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show, and we broadcast every Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific time across the Fraser Valley from CIVL, which is a radio station in the Fraser Valley, and they broadcast from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. Now, you can also be part of the show by joining one of our chat rooms, and the chat rooms exist. One is on Facebook in our Facebook group called Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group. And when you ask to join, you might want to say, I heard you invite me on the radio show. And then Corey, who looks after the group, will be able to know that you're a legitimate listener of the show.
A legitimate listener?
Yes. And also, if you don't like Facebook, we also do the live stream on my YouTube channel, which is just search for Dr. Lesley Phillips. And if you do that, you will be getting a different show that's being brought than the one that's being broadcast from CIVL, because we actually pre-record the show several weeks in advance. So everyone who joins the chat room on Facebook or on YouTube gets to have a preview of the show.
That's wonderful.
It is. It's fantastic, isn't it? And so
I think so.
It's really good that we are pre-recording the show because the Facebook group chat room has got disconnected.
Yeah, I see that.
And so I am going to go into and you can, Corey, you can edit this bit out because
I can.
Yeah, please do. I'm going to see if I can get reconnected to the Facebook group. It says it's trying to reconnect. Well, we might just have to go on with the show.
I think so.
Figure that out during the break, because we did have.
It's waiting for the live signal to come through.
Yeah.
Anyway, technical difficulty.
Yes, internet connectivity problem. Anyway, okay, so Corey, you're going to edit this little bit out, and we will continue with the show. So listeners, tonight's show, the subject matter for tonight's show is what do dreams mean and how to interpret dreams. And you know what? It's a great subject because everybody dreams. Everybody dreams, and even if they don't remember their dreams, actually you do dream. But I do think most people have experienced their dreams, have remembered their dreams, and actually have had some kind of what you might call spiritual or inspirational or intuitive experience in their dreams. I think I read some statistics that said something like depending on the study, between about 65 and 98% of people have had some kind of premonition in their dreams. That's a lot of people, isn't it?
That's a large percentage.
Yeah, it is.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah,
Why don't you just give Facebook a quick shot one more time, Lesley?
I did.
Okay.
And I should be up.
Okay. Yeah, it's large. I think dreams, it's one of those things that people really, they enjoy their dreams immensely, and it is a fun thing, for people to get them interpreted, to find out exactly what's going on in their lives in that portion
yes,
of their.
yeah, and I think a good place to start this show is to actually ask a slightly different question, which is, what are dreams? Before we say what do dreams mean, what actually are dreams? And before we say how should we interpret them, perhaps we should define what dreams are, because I think that there are different categories of dreams. And I first of all would split dream experience into two separate camps. One we might call a genuine dream, or a genuine spiritual experience, or a genuine experience where it's you and your consciousness actually traveling outside of your body in your astral body and having some kind of adventure. The other type of dream is where it's just your body processing chemically, biochemically, the different things that you've been through that day. And how you tell the difference between those two types of dreams is one of them has a storyline and one of them doesn't. So if the dream that you're remembering is completely muddled, just completely jumbled and muddled, and maybe some of the content is drawing from things that you can point to that happened to you that day, that may just be that you're just processing on a body level. But if your dream does have an actual storyline, then that, in my book, is a genuine dream, or a genuine out-of-body experience, a genuine experience of astrally traveling. Now, when I say it has a storyline, I'll just qualify that to say, in our physical 3-4 dimensional time-space reality, when we have a storyline, it's very linear, isn't it? And it has a beginning and it has an ending, and this happens, then that happens, then the next thing happens. Well, that can be the experience in dreams, but also because dreams are taking place outside of space and time, then the experience of time and progression within the dream can be a bit different, but we're still saying the dream has a storyline and it has a theme that you're exploring, and you might be exploring it a little multidimensionally, because I think sometimes the order in which things happen in dreams are a little bit different than the order in which things happen in your waking reality. Okay, so two fundamental categories of dreams. One is more of a body level processing, and the other is you, the consciousness, is having an out-of-body experience. And that out-of-body experience can be in what we call your astral body. And your astral body is a lighter body than your physical body, and it is a vehicle that you use to traverse and have adventures in the astral plane. So some dreams, we're talking about the different categories of dreams, some dreams can be you in your astral body exploring the astral realm. And the astral realm is a realm of experience very closely associated with earth plane reality. And so you might go there to work through the different themes that are going on in your life, for example. So you might have a problem that you're seeking a solution for. And you could have the type of dream where you are struggling with that question and trying to figure out a solution that you can now bring into your waking reality. So some of your adventures on the astral plane can relate very directly to your waking experience. Nightmares. A nightmare could be a dream experience that you are having in your astral body where you've got caught up in the lower realms of the astral plane. Because just like in earth plane reality, there are, I mean, certain cities, there's streets you wouldn't want to walk down at night, aren't there? It's the same thing on the astral plane. There's more of a higher frequency bandwidth and lower bandwidths. So a nightmare could be that you've got caught up in one of these unpleasant vibrational levels, possibly because you've got a vibration within yourself that's matching that, and it still gives you the opportunity to work through something. And the other thing about the astral plane is there's no time and space. That means that some of your dream experiences could be you exploring the past, you exploring your past, you even exploring your past lives. It could be that you're having an experience of exploring your future or your future lives. So for example, we opened the show, we were talking about premonitions and how most people have had a premonition. That's you exploring the future and future potentials in your dream state. Because it's possible for you to move into the future and the past when you're out of your physical body and in your astral body. In your physical body, you can only be right here, right now, but in your astral body, you can move through time and space in a slightly different fashion. So building this picture of different categories of dreams before we even talk about dream interpretation, it is possible for you when you are sleeping at night to go beyond the astral plane and to experience even higher dimensions of reality outside of those regions or realms that are closely associated with earth plane reality. And as you move up into those higher dimensions of reality, they become less similar to, they're not similar to what you experience in your waking life because they're multidimensional. And so to bring that type of dream experience back into your waking consciousness, there's a translation of information that has to happen. It has to be stepped down from a very high vibration, multi-dimensional level of experience all the way down into your 3 or 4D level of experience. So I hope we're sort of starting to paint a picture of some of the things that happen and some of the things that when you are dreaming. And I mean, if we wanted to categorize dreams a little bit more, we could talk about lucid dreams and so on. And a lucid dream is when you're conscious while you're dreaming, where you might even be able to actually direct your dream experience. And this is more taking place when you're astral traveling in your astral body. So the reason I talked about that a little bit is because, you know, what do dreams mean and how to interpret dreams? I wanted to paint a picture of, well, where is even the information coming from? Because depending on what type of dream it is, we might interpret it in a different way. So a dream that's coming from those higher realms of consciousness, maybe it's we might call it a guidance dream. And by the time it trickles down into your conscious awareness, you're dealing with something that's quite highly symbolic, you know, and so you're needing to translate those dream symbols into some form of meaning. Of course, it's also possible for you to receive guidance in the astral realm. It's possible for you to meet and communicate with your guides at all of those different levels of experience. Yeah, so dreams you can be having a guidance dream, you can be having a dream that where you're trying to work a problem out. You can have a dream where you are connecting with and communicating with a different aspect of yourself from a past life or from a future life, and so on. Now, remember, I said that when you're asleep and you're dreaming and you're traveling outside of your body, you are expanding your experience beyond time and space. If you're expanding your experience beyond time and space, how could you fit that into your waking consciousness? And the answer is actually you can't. Because your waking consciousness is limited. There's only a certain amount of content that can fit into your waking experience, because you are limited by time and space. There's only so much you can think about or be aware of in 1 minute at a time. Whereas out of the body, you can actually be having multiple dreams simultaneously. And so you don't bring all of your out-of-body experience into your waking consciousness. You don't remember all of your dreams. And actually, purposefully so, because like I said, you couldn't fit all of that content into the conscious perspective from your body. 2, it wouldn't all make sense, and it's not meant to make sense, because you are an infinite being. You know, beyond time and space, you're an infinite being. And so some of these realms of experience that you exist in are not relevant to your earthly life and wouldn't make sense to bring into your consciousness in your earthly life. But some things do. And those are the dreams that we remember. And so after we come back from the break, we will start talking about the dreams that we do remember and how to interpret our dreams.
Sounds exciting.
Back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in
Hello.
to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey. And we're talking about what do dreams mean and how to interpret dreams. And dreams are a fantastic way for your unconscious mind to communicate with your conscious mind. They're a fantastic way for your higher being that exists beyond time and space to communicate with your body personality level that exists within time and space. So they can be a great way to receive guidance. And in actual fact, you can learn to program your dreams. So you can decide before you go asleep what you want to dream about or what you want to do in your dreams. And you can direct your consciousness, you can steer it in that direction. It's called dream incubation. So say you have a particular problem that you're trying to work out, then you can set the intention before you go to sleep at night that you will be working on that particular issue while you're asleep, and then pay a special attention to what you remember when you wake up.
I think people have I know for myself, I have a problem doing that. I think I'm pretty typical that most people have that issue as well, being able to preset their dreamscape.
Yeah, it takes concerted effort and focus and practice, so I was very into my dreams. In fact, dreams were the way that I got into this psychic stuff, really. And so I loved them. I kept a dream diary, and I really focused every night before I went to bed. I wanted it so much, and I asked for it over and over again, and I focused my consciousness on that. So just like anything, just like learning to meditate or going to the gym, you need to focus on it, and then you will get the fruits of your focus. So what do dreams mean? But one thing I would say is what I tend not to do is buy one of those dream dictionaries and then with your intellectual mind go, I dreamed about a cat. Was it a black cat? Oh, it means good luck. Or, I dreamed my tooth fell out, so because what's really, really important when it comes to dream interpretation is who dreamt it? You dreamt it. Okay, so what does that symbol mean to you? Because a black cat to someone who is frightened of cats might mean something completely different to someone who loved cats and whose favorite pet was a black cat, for example. And so we need to, in interpreting dreams, look at everything in the dreamscape as a symbol and ask the question, what does that symbol mean to me? And realize that each element, each symbol can be multidimensional, meaning it's not linear. Each symbol doesn't just mean one thing, it can actually mean many things. And also to see the people and the characters that appear in the dream as symbols as well. So let's say you've got characters in your waking life, your brother-in-law is in it, or your sister is in it, or your boss. Rather than just literally seeing that that's that person, ask the question, what does that person represent to you? Maybe your boss is a very kind, caring, supportive boss, and they're representing support that exists for you in a situation. Or maybe they're not like that. Maybe they're an angry person whose emotions are out of control, and they are representing the element of, emotional chaos. So, and where to start? There can be many symbols in a dream, can't there? And so it can be interesting to say to yourself, well, what was the standout symbol? What was the main one that really stands out in my mind? And start with that. And it's also possible to bring in emotions with the dream symbols. So what was the strongest emotion? So start with that as a core, unlocking the can, unlocking the can of your dream, The other thing is like, don't get in your intellect, because the dreams are not founded from the intellectual mind. They're created outside of the intellectual mind. They're non-linear, they're multidimensional, they're highly symbolic. Now, for my psychic development students, there are other things that I would say and teach them about interpreting their dreams. We'd work very much with the third chakra, because the third chakra is the center, the energy center that relates to out-of-body experience and out-of-body memory. So it's actually possible for you to mine the information in your third chakra to discover and remember your dreams, even if you haven't remembered them. But that's sort of more advanced stuff. But I would say there is a free meditation on my website, and that website, free meditation, teaches 2 techniques, grounding and centering. I would say in interpreting your dream symbols, do it from the center of your head, as is being taught in that free meditation. Why? Because then you are interpreting it from your true self, your higher consciousness, your multi-dimensional self. And you're in the position of observing not as a body consciousness and not from your intellect. Okay, so if you're trying to think about your dreams and what they mean, and you've moved your consciousness into the frontal lobes of your brain, that's not going to work. Because the dreams didn't come from your body. They didn't come from your intellect. They came from somewhere else. So the more you can open up to your intuition, to your clairvoyance, then the easier it is to interpret the dream information. So I think if there are questions, we can let some of the questions direct the rest of the show.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
I was just making everybody aware, almost ready to respond to questions.
That's great.
I thought so.
Yeah, I see somebody seems to be asking a question. Yep. Facebook,
So,
Brian.
Yeah, Brian, but I have SG here. SG says, I feel like my dreams lately have definitely had a storyline and theme. They've been family-based.
Great. That's great. And so, yeah, we'll often dream about those who are close to us. And again, depending on the content of the dream, you can be interpreted in different ways. But I think often family dreams, you're probably examining family dynamics and relationships with those people.
Yeah, sometimes they're not great dreams, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's in the past and it's a dream of, I don't know, your mom telling you off or your dad telling you off, then you could be processing some pain from the past, for example. So sometimes dreams can be healing dreams. The purpose can be to process and integrate some information and to release some places that you're stuck and to heal yourself so that you can move forward in life.
Yeah, they're there for a purpose, I guess, right? All there for a purpose.
Well, or it's you starting to open up and experience your wider being. But if you're remembering it, then there may be a purpose for you remembering it.
Okay, so you ready for another question, Dr. Lesley?
Definitely.
I'll see if I can do that here. This is from Kennedy. I dream every single night, at least 3 or 4 different dreams. It's normally scenarios that could happen in my real life. Very rarely do I dream of weird, unrealistic things.
That's great, Kennedy. And so what you're tapping into is one of what Corey was saying, one of the main purposes of dreams. It's very common for people to use their dreams to play out different scenarios from their life and to see, well, in this situation, what if I create it this way? What if I live through it that way? Which one do I prefer? Which one do I want to bring into and manifest into physical reality? So, you know, or a scenario that played out during the day and that it's like that thing, isn't it? Oh, I wish I'd said this, or I wish I'd said that. So, you know, rewinding and playing it through in a different way. So, and that's often where we get that deja vu feeling from as well, is because what deja vu is that you're living a particular experience that you already practiced when you were asleep in your dreams. And now you're actually manifesting it on the earth plane.
Interesting. Thank you. And so we have one from Brian, question from Brian. And he says, I do pretty clearly remember visitation dreams. When I connect with someone in my dreams, I actually have more visitation dreams from people who are still alive than I do those that have already passed. Those details or connections are very clear. They don't fade with time. I don't remember any other dreams. I believe the rest are probably processing dreams, or maybe, like you said, stuff that I'm not meant to remember. I do remember one of those scary dreams, you know, the lower vibration ones too. Those I'd rather forget, LOL.
Right. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing. And you mentioned, visitation dreams, where we connect with and communicate with somebody that we know in real life or that we have known. And yeah, we can meet people who've passed away in our dreams and have conversations with them, as well as meeting with people who are living. And sometimes that meeting with someone who is living can be a genuine experience of meeting with that person. Other times it can be you projecting the idea that you're interacting with that person in order to work something out for yourself. Yeah.
Hey, I have a question from Susan. Susan says, I had a reoccurring dream when I was a young girl that I was falling off a cliff and always woke up before I'd actually crash. And she says, I was by myself.
Yeah, that's a common kind of dream, a falling dream and waking up before you land. And when we are asleep and dreaming, we've moved outside of the physical body and we're in the astral body. And when we wake up, the astral body has to reconnect with the physical body. And if you're ever lucid while that happens, then it's a very vibrational experience. And you know, you can hear all sorts of buzzing noises and vibrations and so on as it's happening. And so my interpretation of that type of falling dream is that it's connecting in with you coming back into the body and reconnecting the astral body into the physical body. But I think there could be other interpretations for that as well. You know, falling into an abyss, fear of the unknown, and then not wanting to face the unknown, and so waking up, for example.
Okay. Well, Dr. Lesley, there's only a couple of minutes till break time. I don't know if
Okay.
we have enough time to get into another question here. But we can, I guess. Nah, let's just go to a break and
Okay.
come back.
All right. Well, listeners, thanks for tuning in. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey. Tonight's episode is about what do dreams mean? Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning into Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey, talking about how to interpret dreams. And we are in the portion of the show where we ask the people in the chat room to share and ask questions.
Ooh, and there's a lot of them.
Oh, cool. Let's get going then.
Oh, yes, definitely. Just get this done here for 1 sec. Okay, so this one is from Kennedy. And just so everybody aware, I'm working between Facebook and YouTube, so you are in the queue, so don't worry about not being in the queue, and hopefully we can get to everybody. So Kennedy says, I've always been super intuitive and thought I had a gift. I've always thought I'm more on the clairsentience or claircognizant side, but with me having these vivid symbolic dreams, does this mean anything?
Yes, I would say that having vivid symbolic dreams, that's your clairvoyance. And let me explain a little bit about the psychic abilities. Your psychic senses, they are just like your physical senses are the senses that you have in order to navigate physical reality. Your psychic senses help you navigate non-physical reality. And so your clairvoyance is just your spiritual sight. And we all have it. And when you're dreaming in color and you're seeing stuff in your dreams, that actually is your clairvoyance. And so some people are able to do that in their dreams. And then when they try to access their clairvoyance when they're awake, they have trouble. It's because of the intellect, usually. Usually the intellect comes in and starts doubting. And then the person, doubts what they're doing and what they're seeing, and it gets invalidated. But yeah, Kennedy, that is your clairvoyance.
Okay. Next question. Sure. This is from SG. SG says, I dreamed I saw a lot of my ancestors, and one of them turned into a dog or /wolf and left behind a book that led me to research Zulu tribes in South Africa when I woke up. Is my family connected to Zulu, or did it mean something else?
Well, that is a very cool dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that dream. I love that dream. And so let's take a look. Well, what I want to say is that the dream was pointing you in the direction of some information that you were wanting to reawaken in your waking consciousness as SG. And things can be part of our Akashic record if they are passed through our ancestral line. They can be part of us in that way, or because of our own past lifetimes. And so I think the answer to that question could be that there's an ancestral connection, but it could equally be that there is a past life connection. And it definitely is that there is a that you were wanting to connect yourself into that, and I don't know what, that Zulu wisdom and information. And when I look at it, the image that I'm seeing, or that you're showing me, is actually of a Zulu woman, and she is it just looks like an image where she's connecting with nature, the earth, and herself. So it looks like a lifetime where it was not life in the fast lane, you know, not living in a city, but in wide open spaces with a lot of time to contemplate and be in touch with and in tune with things. And that part of the dream, at least, was about wanting to connect you with that.
That's it.
Yeah, and maybe I'll mention the wolf, that we can, you know, sometimes our guides show up as animals in our dreams.
Oh, definitely. Amongst other things.
Mhm.
This is from Katie. Katie says, I've had a handful of dreams over the years where I'm able to breathe underwater as a human. Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It usually starts with me swimming below the surface, and I start to get worried that I need air. And then this calm washes over me, and I'm able to breathe underwater, not through my mouth or nose, but my lungs expand and contract. Could this be related to breathing problems during sleep, even if I have no history or knowledge of breathing problems? Or can dreams cause a psychological reaction otherwise?
Well, I love that dream as well. I've had dreams like that myself, where which they felt wonderful, because I've just been exploring underwater environments, like a lucid dream, you know, where you can explore different regions of the planet. Because in our astral body, in our physical body, we can't do that, can we? We can't breathe underwater. In our astral body, we can, because when, you know, we can explore underwater. We can walk on water. We can fly. We can walk through a wall. We can do all sorts of things that we can't do in the physical body. So I think in your dream, you're describing it as a nice feeling until you realize what you're doing, and then you panic that you can't breathe, and then you relax again. So let's see if there's another sort of psychological component to it, apart from just, it's great, you can do this stuff in your astral body. Well, all that's coming up is that it's also an exploration of going deeply into some things within yourself, perhaps on an emotional nature. So what I'm seeing is this dream image almost of going down into the depths to retrieve something and bring it up to the surface. So in a way, like a healing dream, you know, things that maybe make you're uncomfortable about in your waking life, now having the, you know, courage to connect with those things and bring them to the surface, and relieve yourself of any anxiety connected with them, something like that.
Okay. And no, so this is Alana. Alana's got a question. This is my friend Alana. I was talking to you about a little while back, and she said, I had a dream last night that my son was knocking on my bedroom door. I'm so happy that it was my first time I woke up and felt his presence.
Do we need some background information to that,
This
Alana?
is Alana, my friend Alana, whose son passed a little while back.
Okay. Well, that's lovely, isn't it? That's a lovely dream. I don't know if that's a question or you're just looking for a validation, but I think you have your own validation because you really felt your son's presence. But thanks for sharing that, because like we were saying, this is through our dream experiences, one way that we can connect with our loved ones that are no longer in the physical body. So I'm really glad that you managed to connect with your son in that way.
So sometimes though, that when people get dreams like that about past people who have passed, they go into a negative place, which I think is not really the purpose of the visitation. You know, it's always about I'm okay, I'm fine.
Right. Well, and sometimes people are struggling to say, you know, they must have had a message for me. They must want to tell me something, or they must want me to do something. And what is the message? And sometimes I guess it can just be, hello, I love you.
Yeah, I'm okay, I love you, everything's good. Very early, I think, would you get a message that says, get me out of here. I know our friends who are I forget what she calls herself, the dreaming, do you remember what Nikki calls herself? The dreaming paramedic. And she goes in and helps people pass over that are stuck because people in this realm won't let them go. That's the other thing too. You got to remember, let people go, right? Don't hold them here. So this is from Jazzy Lee Pink.
Oh, cool.
That's
name.
cool.
Jazzy
Yeah.
Pink.
Most of my dreams seem very detailed. There are times when I know I'm in a dream, but I can't control what is happening. Why is that, Dr. Lesley?
Probably just that you've not managed to get yourself to that next stage in your experience with your dreams. So they're very detailed, and you know you're dreaming. That's one of the first steps in learning how to be a lucid dreamer. Is step one, you have to actually become aware that you are dreaming. And then find a way to wake up and become conscious in the dream. Okay, so, okay, I'm dreaming. And I always remember one that worked for me, and I got this from the Seth material by Jane Roberts. And there was like two things. One is become lucid in the dream, and there were some techniques for how to become lucid in the dream, which I can say in a minute. But then once you're lucid, you know, have something that you can just say, like you know, wake up now, or not wake up now, be aware now, or illusions be gone. And the one that worked for me was illusions be gone. But when that happened, what would happen was that the dreamscape would disappear, and I would find myself in my astral body in my room. And so, you know, I think it's finding some kind of mantra or something that you can say to yourself that allows you to now become like the conscious actor in your dreams. So it's a case of using your will, really, to say, okay, now I know I'm dreaming. And, you know, and so now I'm going to direct the dream. Some of the cues that people use to become lucid in a dream are, whenever there's numbers in a dream, to pay particular attention to the numbers, because if you notice, usually in a dream, if you see a string of numbers, the next time you look at a string of numbers, they're completely different. Or if you look at a clock, the next time you glance at the clock, it's completely different. And so there's little cues like that that are, okay, I'm not in physical reality, I must be in a dream. If you're flying, you must be in a dream. So Jazzy, I just think it's that it's not that you can't start directing your dream, it's just that that's the next step for you. So finding a mechanism to now, move into that experience would be what I would suggest. And like I said, the Seth books are quite good. That, like, there's one called something like Dreams, Reality and Projections of Consciousness. I think that might be the book that I'm talking about.
Wonderful. So this is from Rhonda. Rhonda says, I recently became initiated as an adept, and guides speak to me often and wake me, and I try to recall. Yet as soon as I open my eyes, the information I receive is gone. I keep pen and paper also. I do recall many, and those are the ones I was involved in.
Right. Yes. Well, so that's the main thing that people will say, is keep pen and paper by your bed and write it down, and try and write it down before the information's disappeared. Another thing is to keep a recording device, so that because writing, you're more physically engaged, and with a recording device you can lie there in a more relaxed state and press record. And then there's a more advanced way, like I said, which is when I'm training my clairvoyance students, if they're interested in their dreams, we use the clairvoyance to go and look at the pictures in the out-of-body memory, which is stored in the third chakra. So that's something that I couldn't teach you on the radio show, but it is something I could teach you how to do in a class situation or a private tuition situation.
Okay. It's up to you, Dr. Lesley, but we've got a few more questions. You want to go over time, or would you like to just cut off for tonight if you're not too tired?
How many more questions are there?
3.
Okay, sure. Cut it off after those 3.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Brian again. Brian says, can we share dreams, nightmares with somebody? I had a nightmare years ago and found out later my dad had much the same dream. However, I was not able to determine the time frame. So I don't know if we had to have the same dream at the time, but we did share the same type of dream nonetheless.
Yes, yeah, totally you can. Like I mentioned, my psychic practice began with an interest in dreams, and I used to belong to a dream group, and we got into some pretty interesting stuff in that dream group. And one of the things that we did, we learned to pre-program our dreams, and then we started pre-programming our dreams so that we would meet in our dreams, so that we would all be in the same dream together. And then we would meet and share what had happened. And we would end up, just like you're saying, having had very similar dreams. Or we would program ourselves to re-enter our dreams, or we would all re-enter someone else's dream together with them. So absolutely, you can be in the same dream and have the same dream and experience the same or very similar dream as somebody else.
Interesting. And this is from Kennedy. Kennedy says, my mom passed away last year. I have dreams of her communicating with me in different ways. Is this my subconscious or her trying to connect with me from the other side?
No, that's a good question, isn't it? Or is it you tuning into the connection that exists with your mom? I mean, that's another way of saying it. I feel like it is genuinely you connecting with your mom and experiencing the connection that you have with your mom, which feels like a very loving connection to me. So I don't know that she's trying to reach you. I think that she exists in that realm and you are connecting into it, and there is love between you. And love is what draws us together. That's a really strong bond, right? That affinity that we have for other souls that we've incarnated with. So I feel like it's a genuine experience rather than a projection, Kennedy.
He also says, I found this channel after looking up info about my intuitive side. I think it's a sign I came across. I'd love to join your courses or classes. If you have them, thank you.
Yeah, Kennedy, we've got a class starting tomorrow called Unlock Your Intuition.
Jump on.
Go to drlesleyphillips.com and you can see most of the courses. They're not all on there, but you can see most of them. Unlock Your Intuition is where I advise most people to start. With what you're taught and Unlock Your Intuition, then you can go into any of the other courses. The next group of Unlock Your Intuition starts tomorrow. But I do have some students who can't make the live session that are waiting for the next time I do it. And if I get enough of them now, we could just have a second group. So it's worth connecting in with me. You can email info@drlesleyphillips.com. I do offer like a free 15-minute consult for people who are seriously considering taking my courses to answer questions. Those are usually on Fridays. So Kennedy, the website is drlesleyphillips.com, and there's also a contact form on there. So get in touch with me that way, and we can talk about it.
Wonderful. So this is from Katie. There's two more. This is from Katie. It says, I guess my wondering is if dreams can physically affect our bodies or if our physical state affects our dreams.
Yes, to both of those. Yes, to both of those. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you can have healing dreams where you're bringing through shifts and changes that integrate through the body. For sure. And you can have a condition going on in your body that you then, bring into the dream reality in order to look into that.
Oh, wonderful. So this is again from Alana, and she said, what is kind of funny about this dream about her son being at the door? I'd been wanting a dream for the last 4 months. The knock on the door was so real. I thought it was my sister knocking on the door. Then I realized it was my dream state. As soon as I let go of the need to have a dream from him, then I got this knock on my door. What the symbol of the closed door mean?
So of course, remember what I said at the beginning of the show, if you're tuning in, that it's always important for the dreamer themselves to contemplate what would that symbol mean. But it's like he's on the other side of a door. It's like he's in another room, isn't it? You're in physical reality room and he's in the non-physical reality room. So I would interpret it as something like that, really. He's on the other side. He's beyond the veil. He's in another room that's connected to the room that you're in, but different.
Yeah. Well, that's it for tonight, Dr. Lesley.
All right. Well, that's great. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And we'll be here next Tuesday from 7 to 8 Pacific time. And feel free to make suggestions of what you would like us to talk about next time.
Pizza.
Bye.
No pizza. Okay. Bye-bye now.